Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining to this short conversation before the upcoming Oxford Congress by Fide that will happen in September. As you know, the Congress will be focused on the opportunities and challenges to accelerate sustainable finance. And for me, it's great to have a short conversation with Philippe Le Gall, who is the Senior ESG Engagement Specialist at Pictet Asset Management. Hi, Philippe, how are you?
I'm very good. Hi, Ángel. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks a lot. So, Philippe, ahead of the Congress that will happen in Oxford, and from your current role and your experience, how would you say that which are the, or how can the financial institutions, what can financial institutions do to integrate climate considerations into their investment strategies as we look into the future?
So I think there's really three things they can do. The first is financial institutions should spend some time assessing and understanding the materiality of climate risks for financial markets. Indeed, as the world accumulates more emissions into the atmosphere, we build up risk into the system that will lead to more volatility because of extreme weather events and an increased policy response from governments. And therefore, it's important that institutions spend some time on this. Then they can commit to ambitious climate action, and that means making commitment to net zero and setting ambitious intermediate targets. And finally, they can translate these commitments and targets into specific investment activities and solutions, such as investing in companies that have a credible decarbonization plan to accelerate their transition, or investing in companies that provide solutions to climate change.
Very interesting. I like a lot this easy way of assessing, committing, and translating into specific actions. Linked to the latter one, I guess, what role does then engagement play in this decarbonization of the economy from your perspective?
Yes, of course. Well, when it comes to carbon-intensive sectors, blanket exclusions do not make much of a difference, unfortunately, because companies continue to produce greenhouse gas emissions, which still need to be reduced, but you've lost all your leverage because you're not an investor anymore. So you might have decarbonized your portfolio, but you're not decarbonizing the real economy. On the other hand, engagement enables a much more nuanced and effective approach because you invest in high-emitting companies that have the potential to transition profitably, and through engagement, you encourage them to set ambitious climate targets, develop and implement a decarbonization strategy, and report on their progress. And when you achieve that, not only you are decarbonizing your portfolio, but you're also decarbonizing the real economy.
So I guess that the challenge here is that instead of playing black and white, and you said there is a duty in order to stay with companies that are still not clean,
yes,
as we expect in the future, but where we should be able to leverage properly the position and hence engage properly, right?
Correct. In fact, you could almost see this as taking really full responsibility as an investor of the role that you have to play in the transition, rather than staying out of the decarbonization debate by avoiding the complicated sectors.
Fantastic. So now that we agree that, yes, engagement makes a difference, how do you engage properly? And we go to the question on data, right? So how can you, or what do you need in order to have data moving in the right direction to your decisions? How can reliable and sustainable data help? Do we already have reliable and standardized data?
So it is true that reliable data to properly integrate climate factors in investment processes, be it fundamental analysis, asset allocation, or in that case, engagement, is really crucial. So again, think about the example of engagement that I gave earlier. Investing in high-emitting companies that can transition profitably implies that you're able to assess and compare companies through fundamental analysis so you can identify the best opportunities to invest in and start an engagement with these companies. So that requires good quality, comprehensive and comparable data. And engagement also plays a role because very often the starting point of many engagements will be asking companies to disclose more and disclose better. So the two are really interlinked together. Now, it is fair to say that the lack of standardization and quality issues have clearly been an obstacle for quite some time. But the good news is that ESG regulation, such as CSRD in Europe, for example, is now becoming an important driver of data availability, quality, and standardization.
Absolutely. And I guess that CSRD as well will help to be able to find the right questions to the right company, gathering the appropriate data, right? This effort from doing your double materiality, incorporating what is expected from EFRAG that you need to report anyway, will hopefully help us to be specific and sharp on the data. So I guess that the last question would be, are you optimistic about this enhancement of reliability and specificity on the data as we move forward?
Well, look, I've been in sustainability for 20 years, and I have, although data quality has been an issue ever since, I have still seen some significant improvement in what is available today and the quality of the reporting that we have today. And if you look at the current developments, and I think, again, ESG regulation is a really important driver for this, you see more and more companies reporting or falling under the scope of these ESG regulations, and they have to follow very rigorous, very strict guidelines to disclose numbers. So I think it can only improve looking forward.
I agree. Philippe, thanks a lot for your time.
My pleasure.
We'll see each other in September at the Oxford meeting, and hope you're doing fine. Thanks.
Thank you.